Hey everyone, here is part 5, constructing a square. What we can do is we can make this inside of a circle. So we're going to try and construct a square inside of a circle. So here's one where we have barely any marks from our compass. You can barely see anything. There's a few up here and around here, but that's it. Here's a different example where there's a few more marks. You can see those a little bit more. You can see these lines that we drew. That's a second one. And here's another one. We really have a lot of stuff going on. All right. Is it bad to draw this one? No, it doesn't matter exactly where you put your arcs and how many marks you make, because it's all the same thing. It's just how much of it do you actually trace on the paper. All right. So let's start by constructing our square by placing a point right there. Okay. So we place our point, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to put my point there, and since I'm left-handed, I seem to say this a lot, I'm going to use my right hand to make my point. So right there is my right hand. Now what I would suggest you do is on your circle, when you make it, use the inner part. We have those two marks. Use the inner one, and you'll see why a little bit later on. So I do that far. I'm going to rotate it around. I'm going to go the rest of the way. Uh-oh, can you see that I moved it a little bit? You can tell that I moved it, so therefore I have to start over. Alright, so now I have my circle, and what we're going to do now is we're going to draw a radius, or a diameter, because we're going to try and cut this thing in half. Alright? Because really we want to cut this thing into 4 parts, right? Because a square has 4 points, and so we're going to say 4 vertices. We could also say 4 vertices. So we could also say we're going to cut this into 4 equal parts, and then those parts should help us find the circle. So it doesn't matter where we go. Just as long as I go through the center, I'm going to be okay. So I can go through this way. Now this is where I drew them all. Do you have to draw that whole thing? No. If you just want to find this point and this point, that's all we're really looking for. And we're going to call this one A. We're going to call this one C, because B will go up here and D will go down there. Alright, so we've got half of our point. So what we have to do is cut this thing in half this way somewhere. Now can you just kind of say, well, it looks to be right here, that's close enough. No, we want to be exact. Alright, so what we have to do is actually, if we can somehow cut this so it's exactly perpendicular, we'd have our 4 points and they'd all be equally spaced. So you actually know how to do that from one of our previous videos, perpendicular bisector. So remember what I said, don't change your compass and use the inside one to draw the circle? Well, here's why. If you use the outside one now, it's over halfway from the center, right? From here's the center. If I go here, that part lines up perfectly, and the outside one is over half. So now I can just use that outside one, and it should be just a little bit above and a little bit below. Alright, so can you actually draw this whole arc? Absolutely you can. You don't have to. You can only draw some of it. Just make sure that when you draw both of these two arcs, what we need to find is the intersection when the point is at A and the point is at C. So really what I'm looking for is the intersection up here. So you can see it up there, and I can draw the other one right here. So that's what I'm looking for, is this point and this point up there. Okay, so hopefully you see them. Alright, so could I draw them all the way? Sure, and if you want to do that, I have to make sure my point is right here. I should have done that before. I'm going to just do it again. We're going to put it, there we go. That looks real nice. Alright, so now I've got those. The next thing we're going to do is take our ruler. Now the side of my compass is not quite long enough to make it, so I actually have to use the ruler. Make sure that your edge is nice and straight. I've got a little chunk missing right here. If you kind of see it. See that chunk's kind of missing? Yep. So that'll kind of give me maybe an edge that's not really straight. So make sure that you have a straight edge. Alright, so now I'm going to connect this, oh, you can't quite see it, sorry, we're going to connect the top point here and this other point here, and then what should happen is as I do that, if I make a really good one, I should also be going through the center. So if I go this way and go through all of it, it's gone through that point, it's gone through the center, it's gone through my other point. It's a good way to check and make sure you're doing a really nice job. Alright, so now we can label this point and this point. Now it's not where the intersections are. What I want to do is I want to label the parts on the circle. Alright, so let's zoom in real close here. Alright, so you see this point right here is going to be our B, not the one up there. I don't want to find that intersection. That doesn't matter. I just wanted to find the intersection of the perpendicular bisector and the circle. So there's B, and then this point right here is going to be D, not down there. Alright, so then what I'll do is I'm actually going to take a pen this time, and I'm just going to have to connect my parts of my circle. Alright, so I've got to connect A to B to C to D, and there is a square. Alright, so here we go. A to B to C to D. There's one. And then I go from here to B. There's a second one. All right, then I go from C to B in this case. It doesn't matter the order in which you do them as long as you get them all connected. And then from C to D. And there we have it. There is a square. All right, so good luck making your own.